All right. Hello, everyone. This is going to be what I would assume to be a little bit of a longer video. Just me talking about two very different ships, but costing the same resource, which is Shinano and the FDR, both are for steel. And everyone has gotten their steel coupon, steel coal, and what was it? Is it doubloons as well? The coupon has been reset. And a lot of people have been asking Shinano or FDR. So these two carriers are the tier 10 carriers that are costs for steel, and they're not cheap either. They cost 33k for FDR, and I believe it's 30k for the Shinano. Where's the Shinano? Here we go, 30k. For some reason, Shinano is cheaper than the FDR, but nevertheless, they both are for steel. So yeah, question that everyone's been saying or asking, FDR versus Shinano. So I'm gonna just give it to you right now, without people needing to watch the whole entire thing. Just TLDR, Shinano is better in almost every single way. She does everything easier, or not easier. She does everything more efficiently. And the main thing that's holding her back to a player being able to actually perform in her is the very high skill floor. Shinano is very difficult to play or to play well, and FDR is way easier because you have the tankiest planes, although they are slow, but also the hull is more reinforced, and you are just able to farm damage if you're able to line up the drops. You're able to do the turning with the squadrons, torpedo squadron, and your bomber squadron. You're able to pretty much farm a lot of damage in the FDR and abuse any battleship or cruiser that's possibly maybe island hugging. You just drop them over and over and over again and rack up a lot of damage that way. But the game impact is just very low because you're farming one ship at a time. It takes very long to get your strikes off because of the 25-second downtime, and planes are slow, very slow. Now, if you are more informed with how carriers play, then I'll go into the detail. I should say, if you are well informed with carriers and the class as a whole, and you know how the Shinano and the FDR plays, then TLDR, just get the Shinano. It's better in every single way. Now, for those who don't know how they play, for those of you that don't really know carriers as much, but know of the carrier's capabilities, then I will go into detail to the best of my ability to explain why these two carriers should be picked, one or the other, depending on the player. So, first I'll talk about Shinano. Shinano is probably the most popular carrier right now, both in the community and, both on the surfership side of things and the carrier side of things, the carrier player base. Reason being is because, well, she is, first of all, a Japanese premium carrier, freemium, whatever you want to call it. Another carrier that has been added to the game that is not a tech tree. Security super ships don't count. The last one was Kaga. And Kaga, I believe, released in 2017. It's been almost 10 years now. So this is a big deal. Next, because she's Japanese, she comes with the Japanese torpedoes. Now, these planes are down tier. They are tier 8 planes that you see on the Shokaku, which is a tier 8 tech tree. Her dive bomber squadron, though, these are the Tenrais. These are on the Hakuryu and the Sekiryu. These guys are just tactical squadron HE dive bombers, same bombs that you'll see on the Kaga, but you have 4 more bombs in it, and they deal. I believe the alpha is still the same as the Kaga. All the other bomb stats are the same, except you have more of them, and you're on a faster plane, which is a Tenrais. So it's kind of similar situation with how Kaga has down tier planes. Kaga has tier 7 stats on the planes for tier 8, and you face tier 10s. But the Shinano, you face tier 10s because tier 10 AA all the time. But you have tier 8 planes. which is on the Shokaku. Now, those of you who have played the Shokaku as bottom tiered, you guys all know it is a pain in the ass to actually get these planes to work, right? The good thing about the Shinano though is these the torpedo bombers and the skip bombers are both standard squadrons, and the dive bombers, the Tenrais, these are HE dive bombers. These are tacticals, so you get these every once in a while, kind of like how the Super CVs or the Essex line gets their tactical squadrons. Basically the same thing. The torpedo bombers, these guys are in groups of three, with 3 attack flights, so you have pretty much 1 extra plane compared to how the Shokaku and the Haku planes are, because those are usually on 2. And which means you get an extra torpedo, but if the alpha is lower because these are Shokaku parameters. So you drop 3 torps on 3 attack flights. What does this mean? More chances for a torpedo to hit. These are Japanese alpha, 7200. Albeit now, it's not as high as the Haku. I believe Haku is 9300, 9100, something like that. But the Shokaku, I mean, alpha is still devastating. You land on destroyer, cruiser, battleship, anything, you still do a lot of damage. And you drop 3 now. Another good thing to note about the Shinano is because she is a Japanese carrier, she's not like a Kaga, she's not a premium, she is a freemium special resource ship, which means she retains the very good heal that the Japanese carriers carry. So the Shokaku, Hakuryu, the Sekiryu, and now the Shinano. This repair party on the torpedo squadron and on the AP skip squadron, they have a much shorter cooldown time of 1 minute, less than the usual. So in this case, they have 2 minutes cooldown. Usually the heal is 3 minutes. So this is very good for being able to launch a squadron. It takes about 30 seconds to 1 minute to reach your target, do the rotation, start up your next squadron. It could be any of these other 2. Then when you go back to the original squadron which are torpedo bombers, your heal will be back up. So you can just keep spamming heals basically if you do a proper rotation, proper flight. You don't cancel your flight early. Okay, it's very good for that kind of thing. And now we go to the most popular squadron that pretty sure everyone knows about, is the AP skip squadron, the skip bombers. So these AP skip bombers, they are a special case. First time that we've had something like this, so on this AP skip squadron, you have 3 lines. First line shows the first bounce, second line is the second bounce, third line is the final time the bomb touches the water, and then the bomb detonates, with no other bounces after that. So first bounce, second bounce. But if we think about it, of how many times like the bomb touches the water, that is on the line. So from the first line to right before the second time the bomb touches the water, you have a improved penetration of 658 millimeters of penetration. This is very good for dropping things like battleships, dropping things like large cruisers. So you have pretty much a Yamato salvo dropping, or a Yamato shell dropping onto you. Now, the second line, which is the second time the bomb touches the water, to the third line. From the second and third line, you have a reduced penetration of, I believe it's 298, something like that. It's like 260, 298 millimeters of penetration. This is perfect for dropping cruisers, broadsides, like light cruisers, super lights, and heavy cruisers, and also carriers. It's a very, very good squadron with dealing with multiple things in one single game. You're not hard limited to, oh, my bomb has too much penetration, kind of like how Hornet's AP bomb, the Enterprise AP bomb, on some, well, no, not Enterprise. Sorry, her bombs are different. Hornet bombs, AP bombs specifically, MVR bombs. These type of bombs, the AP bombs, have way too much penetration on some targets, and you don't want to drop them. Like MVR dropping on a Neptune or a Minotaur at the highest altitude, you're most likely going to get an overpen. But with the Shinano, because you're dropping broadsides, first of all, secondly, you have the 2 different penetration values on your single squadron. You can drop pretty much any target that you want, outside of a very limited few, like for example Colombo, or a German battleship. Those things are so well armored and have spaced armor, have internal plating, have a turtleback. So even if you drop them on your 600 millimeter penetration on the bomb, you're still going to get pretty much just penetrations. You can't really citadel them. But regardless, this is still a very, very strong, sorry, text message. This is still a very, very strong squadron. And this is one that a lot of people fear the most because this is literally four bombs drop in a single drop. You have 3 attack flights and you have a heal. And this is basically a Yamato shell flying right at you when you're broadside. You really don't want to be hit by these caught in a broadside. This is by far the scariest squadrons to get caught in a crossfire with another surface ship. Definitely devastating. Now, the tactical squadron, this is more of like a gimmick that Shinano has, specifically added on just on this carrier so she can have the flexibility of being able to deal with destroyers, deal with anything that she wants to just waste time with, rotation-wise, and also they gave her smoke. This smoke curtain generator, is the same that you will find on an Essex carrier, or the Essex and the Yorktown. This is more of a personal selfish smoke because you are a Yamato hull that's less armored, and your concealment your concealment is 14.3. You can lower it if you want, but it's not recommended. But this basically allows the Shinano to push. Why do you want to push? We'll get into that just a second. But a lot of the times, you really want to position aggressively. This carrier rewards aggression. This carrier rewards players who are able to push their ship to the limits. It is a double-edged sword though, because in a carrier game, they will start focusing you. You'll get spotted. Enemies will start just shooting you at max range and try to just kill you because you are the biggest threat on the team. Now this smoke screen, it is it's a 1 minute cooldown, a little bit over 1 minute cooldown, and the squadron itself that is linked on these tactical squadrons, they are a little bit over a minute as well. So by the time that you have your tactical squadron, more often than not, you'll have your smoke ready as well, just so you can get that smoke up and protect yourself. Because now we will go and talk about some of the things that on her ship, her hull. So the Yamato, or not Yamato, sorry, the Shinano, her DCP and fire duration is different compared to other carriers. She is the first carrier in the game that has been added since rework, or since the rework happened, to have battleship stats on fire duration and the fire damage. I believe she takes the battleship duration on fires, but her damage per tick is the same as Graf Spee, which is the second highest in the game. Battleship and then Graf Spee, I believe it's like that, and then a large cruiser afterwards. And on top of that, the Shinano's DCP does not last a minute like other carriers do. Shinano's DCP lasts only for 20 seconds, and she has 66 seconds of the cooldown. So this means any AG shell that hits you and sets a fire, forces your DCP, is the biggest threat. I don't know if you guys have seen me on Discord spamming or posting this sticker where Shinano has 4 fires on her ship and 2 floods, and that was an image sent to me by a friend because he experienced that himself. DCP got triggered, kept getting HE spam, 4 fires just like that, and he died. Next, so talking about the armor. So Shinano, she is also the first carrier in the game to have the most of the outer extremities armor compared to all the other carriers in the game. So the flight deck, 75mm flight deck, that's in between, I believe, Haku and there's another carrier, but she has 75mm pen. Haku is like 98 or something like that, but still very armored. A lot of shells cannot penetrate you. A lot of bombs can't penetrate you either. Very strong flight deck, very, very good. For the outer armor as well, you have 27mm bow and stern, and then also the hangar plating is 30mm. This is the highest amongst any other carrier that we have in the game. All of the carriers usually have 25 or 19. She has 27 and 30. very resistant against some HE shells, especially destroyers who want to just spam you a little bit, or lower caliber guns. Next is her Citadel. Pretty sure if you guys played the game before, you guys all recognize this Citadel formation, right? This is the very famous Yamato cheek that everyone tries to shoot at. And if you angle just a little bit, you'll get blasted in the Yamato when you're up close. Shinano has the same exact thing, except she has no armor protection on this. The only thing that is armored is just the amount of millimeters of armor thickness she has. So the armor belt, if you remove this, armor belt is 400 millimeters on the front and rear. And then right in the dead center, you have a 160 millimeter open citadel armor belt. Very, very easy to nuke this ship when caught broadside, or when you're playing something like an Elbing or anything with improved AP pen, and you're at a certain distance, you can really devastate this ship. Very easy to kill, as long as you know where you're aiming. As long as you're a certain distance from it, and she starts to angle, starts to show her broadside, or if you just can HE spam her, just HE spam her, right? It's just like that. But yeah, that's her armor scheme and such like that. I don't think there is really anything else to talk about regarding her. That's right, the hull. So, like I said before, the tactical squadron has the smoke, and it promotes the ship to play more aggressively, push forward, just push it to the next level. Now, on top of that, she has grasp up and secondary dispersion, albeit the range the range is normal, but the DPM on this and the penetration value on these secondary guns are not high at all, but the alpha is high, and your dispersion is the same as grasp up, which is, I believe, the third or fourth highest in the game. As an aircraft carrier, it is the highest on top of, matching with Graf Zeppelin. These are very scary for destroyers who really want to push you, or literally anything that wants to push you. And if you're able to set fires on them and just kill them with pure alpha, hit their superstructure, or actually just penetrate them, they just die. The amount of times that a destroyer has rushed me and I just smoke myself up, I start running away, I spot them with my planes, they just die because they can't do anything about it. These things are so accurate. Every 5 seconds, they shoot their salvo, you're bound to land maybe 4 shells, and that just takes like 5k off of their ship. It's crazy. And that's the funniest thing about the Shinano. But yeah, I mean, promotes you to get closer. Use your HP pool because you have 75,000. Use your armor. You have 55% torpedo protection, which is the same as the Yamato and the Musashi because it is a Yamato hull. Very tanky when used properly, and your strikes are just devastating anyone who is giving you broadside, or whoever you're able to catch broadside. She just does everything so well, but she also has a lot of drawbacks where you have to aim properly with your skip bombers. If you misaim them, you're just going to get penetration, and then the run is pretty much ruined. There's no point to use the AP skip bomber squadron if you can't get citadels. If you get just penetrations, better off just using either the other 2 squadrons instead. Now, I mean, I posted a lot of videos on the Shinano. You guys can just take a look at that. I keep playing it, and it is a very fun carrier. It's my most favorite carrier in the game. I have announced this ship. I had the opportunity to actually be invited on stream on the Awazo official and announce this carrier back last year. And I mean, I keep pumping content and I keep answering questions, trying to help out a lot of people. I mean, she's just an all-around, just very, very, very strong carrier. She has weaknesses, clear weaknesses, and any mistake can really ruin your game. But you're also able to just pretty much solo carry the game as Shinano. It's been a very long time since we had a carrier like this, ever since rework happened. Back then, everything was just so strong and AA was so weak that any carrier could just solo carry. But now, times have changed so much that Shinano is like the clear winner out of any other carrier in the game, maybe comparing to Essex. Essex also has a lot of utility, which is her biggest strength, and she's able to lock down and basically push out a lot of carriers because of her fighters and her smoke. But Shinano, at the same time, is also able to solo carry herself out of tricky situations. And so many games I posted and had on stream, where it was basically came down to me and just solo carrying the game after my entire team dies. She also has access to Yamamoto, which is hilarious because if you get a Kraken, which is a lot of the times you get a lot of kills with this thing, you just heal. And because a lot of the damage you take is healable damage, a lot of it is just fires or just penetrations, you heal a ton, right? So, I mean, Shinano is just a clear winner. But now I will talk about the FDR because those of you who don't know about FDR or want more details about this carrier, I'll go ahead and start that explanation now. So the other ship in comparison, the FDR. FDR has been in the game for like 4 years now, been quite a while, has been nerfed many times, and the playstyle is essentially just the same, except the fact that you basically only have 2 squadrons now. The rockets were nerfed so hard. In addition to the rockets' machine gun animation being added to the game, it kind of just screwed up everything for FDR. So you technically only have 2 squadrons now, the torpedo and the bombers. So the hull, first of all, I believe this is just the midway. 87 with the left side being 193, right side being 178, right? Pretty standard for midway. Now, everyone also knows FDR it has the tankiest planes in the game, but also the slowest. And these things are just slow and steady, wins the race, basically, unless you face another carrier that just kills your entire team. You can't do anything to keep up with them. That's the biggest downside for FDR. Sure, you're able to grief someone's game by just focusing them down with your plane's tankiness. You're able to force the drop because you can turn your torpedo squadron, turn your bombers to basically get that perfect drop angle. But you're also taking a very long time to do those drops because you have, first of all, 20 to 25 second downtime in between drops before you can drop your squadron again. And also, the planes are slow. So after you recall your planes, you have to fly back to that location, which takes way longer. It takes like a minute 30 or something like that. But regardless of those things, I mean, FDR's torpedo squadron, you have you drop 8 torps with 2 planes in each attack. You have 7 strikes. And these things don't regenerate very quickly at all, right? 102, 127, and 118. But you have very tanky planes, and you drop a lot of ordnance in 1 strike. 8 torps on the torpedo bombers, 8 bombs on the bombers. God knows how many rockets these are. But torpedo bombers, you do the alpha was nerfed, and I believe I think the arming distance was also pushed forward even more. It was nerfed as well. But so pretty much you can land 7 of the 8 on a battleship if they're just straight lining. Now, I don't even think I had to go much into detail with what FDR has because it's pretty standard. She drops 8 torps, she drops 8 bombs. Right. She eats a lot of flack because she has very large amounts of planes in her flight squadron. So that's why typically the 4-point AA or the 4-point commander skill for the anti-flak is always pretty much mandatory on her. So that way you don't lose your planes for free. But the thing with FDR versus Shinano, it really comes down to like FDR, even though Shinano just released or released some time ago and is now, you know, everyone has access to the steel coupon. It doesn't mean FDR is bad. I would say FDR is just a hit or miss for the player because it's very slow. A lot of people hate playing those kind of things because a reason why I hate playing battleships is because of the 30-second reload time. And the ship is just slow. Most of the ships are slow. FDR is the same way. FDR has very large alpha per strike, but it's so slow. 25-second downtime, slowest planes in the game. Well, close, right? I think it's like 3rd slowest. But it's like, hey, if you like seeing big numbers, big drops, FDR is going to be the clear winner for you as the player. But comparing it against Shinano, though, Shinano's faster, Shinano's more aggressive, takes bigger risks, has way higher damage alpha, unhealable damage as well. FDR is more of like just consistent drops, consistent large alpha, and it's just a slower paced gameplay. It's basically like if the FDR faces a competent carrier player who's able to dish out equal amounts of damage as you are, or gets drops off just like you are, the other carrier will most likely win, unless it's like an Audacious or something. I think Audacious is the only thing that it'll beat. Because you got to remember that when you're playing a carrier game, it's not just you versus the entire enemy team. It's you versus the enemy carrier. If an FDR faces a Shinano, and they're both doing their drops and everything, Shinano's just going to carry the game way harder because she has the ability to, first of all, deal with destroyers. That's a big one. When she needs to, she can deal with the destroyers with her tactical dive bombers. These dive bombers hurt. 8 bombs as well on these bombers for Shinano. That's the first thing. And she's able to she has utility. Her smoke, it is more for herself, but she can use it for an ally if she has to. She has self-defense, which is secondaries. She has the armor. She has the HP. She has a torpedo protection. Next, if she needs to deal with a large battleship or a large threat to the enemy team or to her team, she can drop them with torpedoes, drop them with AP skip bombers. Very, very strong at both of them. There we go. There's another answer there. She needs, she faces something like a Malta, any other carrier that's not a German carrier. She can deal with them too by skip bombing them with AP, landing citadels, and just pushing them out of the game. FDR, although it is a very comfortable playstyle to some where they can just relax, just get drops off, not care about anti-air or flak, right? She can do that. She can just enjoy her time. But when you have to deal with the destroyer, this is the most painful thing in the world. I mean, like, first of all, destroyers, like the only reasonable squadron you have against destroyers are the bombers, because the rockets, even though they are HFARs that you'll find on the Midway and the Lexington, these rockets has the longest machine gun animation time. I think it's like 5.5 or 5.7 seconds of machine gun animation. And the reticle is very sensitive, so you have to stay steady and you have to lead properly, or else you just whiff all the rockets. And even still, the alpha on these things is just really poor as well. So the rocket squadron is out, so you basically have bombs only. And trying to deal with the destroyer in the FDR is one of the most painful things, and it's very inconsistent. Maybe you'll be able to get a lucky drop off on them, but most of the time it just comes down to you versus the player versus RNG. And now when you have to deal with a cruiser or a battleship, it also just comes down to how well they can maneuver away from you. If they start turning away from you and they continue to turn around, you're kind of screwed. But if they turn away and just keep sailing in one angle, you can just follow them. You can just follow them with your own squadron, and then you can just turn and catch them like that. That's pretty much how FDR plays. You catch them off guard, or you catch them on their broadside. If they're stuck in a crossfire and they can't turn anymore, then you can turn your squadron and get them at that angle. But I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than the fact that, you can watch my videos, watch other streamers play Shinano or FDR, and you can compare the two gameplay. And I posted a lot of FDR games, posted a lot of Shinano games, and then you can decide what exactly is going to be the best ship. But like, if we ignore everything like the player skill, everything about like this just niche scenarios where, oh, it's a lot of DDs, oh, it's a lot of cruisers, it's all this and that. If we ignore all of that, just come down to 2 ships, FDR versus Shinano. Shinano is the winner. That's pretty much it. Okay. So yeah, hopefully this answers some questions. Hopefully this helps you guys out. I will be ending the video here. It's just me yapping. I'm not going to edit this as much. It's just going to be a straight long video of me just talking. So I guess if you're on a long road trip or you're trying to go to sleep, you can just watch this video and just go to sleep that way. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. See you guys probably on stream, probably later in a few days. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys bought the Shinano, if you guys bought the FDR, if you regretted it, you were pleased with your choice. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the comment section. Peace.